Tal Kadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha for day 22. We are on page 57, Siman Kafei, Siman 25. We are on Halacha number Lamed Chet, Ovel Asiyatan. We know that Kol HaMitzvot Mevarech Alem Ovel Asiyatan. B'derech klal, whenever we do a mitzvah, we always have to do it Ovel Asiyatan, which means before doing the mitzvah, before performing the mitzvah, you make the Beracha. Klomar, sheyesh levarech al mitzvot, lifnei she'oseh otam, v'lo le'achar miken, not afterwards. Okay, and by the way, when it says Over, it comes from the pasuk V'yavor et hakushi, right? The pshat is that he ran in front of him. And therefore, tzarich levarech al tefillah shel yad achar hanacha al kiboret. So therefore, you have to come and you have to make the bracha on the tefillin shel yad after you already placed it on the kiboret, on the muscle, right? Actually, I don't know if he translated his muscle or the muscle. Okay, so he says over here, right, as follows: on one's arm and tightening it, right, around the arm. Fine. So he says, right, before you tie the knot, you tighten it. But the kshida is the asiyah. Okay? So he says, don't make the bracha before you actually even put it on the arm at all, because that's called kodem de kodem. Because that's even before them before. Meaning, if you make a bracha when it's over here, the tefillin, and now I have to put it on, and then I come and so that's kodem de kodem. It's too much. So you have to put it on, and now you make the bracha, and then you tighten. Because the mitzvah is ukshartam leotar yedecha. You have to tighten it. You have to tie it. So therefore, that's a mitzvah. If it's too much, it's kodem lekodem. You have to make it hekesh, right? You have to bring it close by. You have to make it right, very close by the beracha and the asiyat mitzvah. And don't make a beracha afterwards, right? That you put on the kibboret, because then it's already after asiyatan, even though you didn't do the krichot. You make the beracha on the tefillin after you put it on, but before you tie it on the zroa, on the arm. Okay? Let's see the footnote, number 51. Why not say kodem la'asiyatan? So the Rishonim explain that according to the Gemara, they chose to use the word over, right? Over la'asiyatan, in describing the rule rather than the word common kodem. Why? Kodem could just as well mean long beforehand. When you say kodem zeba kodem, it could be very, very much before, or it could be before. When you say over, right, it's occurring mamash momentarily. Mamash kilu mamash betoch, mamash kacha. So he says the halakha demands therefore the one before the mitzvah immediately before, right, without any delay. Right, the Rishon decided that Yekud is brought down in Yekud 7. There's supposed to be a moment. This explains the halakha here why you can't do it too far before. Right, the next one, number 52. The Gemara says Rav Huna, when do you make a beracha on the tefillin? When you put them on. The Gemara explains that this means that you already have the tefillin in the proper place, and then you're going to tie it, and that's what you have to do. The Rambam says the same thing. When you're going to perform any mitzvah, you have to do it right before performing the mitzvah. Therefore, one must say the beracha right after placing it on the biceps, but before tying it to the arm. Right? Okay, fine. The Bet Yosef challenges ruling, since one must say this is the beracha before the mitzvah. Wouldn't it be better to do it before you put it bichlal on? And he comes and he gives two possible answers. Number one, he comes and he says, right, that tightening the loop of the strap is the final act, so the proper time for doing it is just before tightening it. If you do it beforehand, it's too far in advance. And number two, in truth, it is permissible to do it. But he says, right, the Rambam wishes to teach us, however, that it's not absolutely necessary, so you could do it later on, right? But again, it's not accordingly. He comes and he passes like the Rambam. So since Maran clearly said that one must say the beracha mamash before putting it on, we must assume that that's what he meant in the Shulchan Aruch as well. So this is the ruling of the Acharonim as well. Okay, which is the first answer in the Bet Yosef. Fine. Number 53 is in the next halacha. Halacha lametet. B'diavad shebidech kodem hanacha yatsa. What happens if I didn't even put it on yet? I come and make a laniach tefillin, and now I put it on. I'm still used to the chuva b'diavad. Right? Says vehu adin. The same halacha would apply. Im nizkar shelo birech. If I forgot to make a bracha, and I already tightened it, yevarech kaet. Make the bracha right now. Vafilu another halacha. Vafilu achar shesiyam halacha. Even if I finish completely putting on tefillin, I can still make the bracha as long as the tefillin is on me. Kol zman shasiyatam nimshechet. For example, talit or yeshiva basukah. Right? But he says if you didn't make the bracha beforehand, you're allowed to do it afterwards. And the same halacha would be mitzvah tefillin, because it's a mitzvah mitmashechet, which means the mitzvah is every single second that I have the tefillin on. So therefore, you can make the bracha b'diavad later on, right? And then you just move them a little bit, right, before the beracha. Okay, let's see the footnote. Footnote number 53, 54, and 55. 53, the Mishabura comes states, lechatchila one should not make the bracha too far in advance. And we can learn this to do with making a bracha too far in advance, that it's still going to be valid. Furthermore, in the second resolution of Bet Yosef, he said you're allowed to do that. So therefore, obviously, it's going to be okay. Okay, if someone turned to another subject after saying the Beracha, the above ruling is correct for someone who said the Beracha and then immediately put on his Tefillin arm. If someone recited the Beracha and did not put the Tefillin on until an hour later, he obviously turned his attention to other matters in the meantime. And this, in that case, his blessing is not valid and it must be repeated. 54. The Pri Megadim rules that if someone realizes after putting on a Tefillin Shel Yad that he forgot to say the Beracha, he should recite it at that time before putting on the Tefillin Shel Rosh. Although this means interrupting between the Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh, apparently this is the proper procedure so that the blessing will be recited before fulfilling the mitzvah of Tefillin Shel Rosh. 55. This is the ruling of the Mishnah Berurah, and the Halacha Berurah based on the ruling of Shulchan Aruch. Is mentioned also as well in the gloss of the Dirshu edition as well, that you could do the same thing, which means that as long as meaning like this. Licha techila, you put it on, you make the beracha, you tie. If you made the beracha when it's down here and you didn't even put it on, you're still yitzeh chovah b'diavad. How do we know that? From the first answer of the Bet Yosef and what we brought down that it's kodem v'kodem, but it's still going to be okay. What happens if you put them on and shachachta? You didn't make a beracha. So fine, you could make the beracha afterwards. Even if you completely finished everything, you could still make the beracha as long as you still have them on. And then you come and you just move them. Why? Because that's also, as long as it's a mitzvah mitmashechet, that it continues, you could always come and make the beracha.